What up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to Faces and Heels, your podcast for professional wrestling here on the KB Radio Network. I am your host, Kevin Reed, and I'm not crying. I'm just slicing some onions over here as we recap and react to Saturday night's main event, John Cena's final match. He has left his boots or shoes, I should say, in the middle of the ring. This was it as he faced Gunther in his final match on this PLE. It really felt like a premium live event today, but it really was just a Saturday night's main event, but really good matches. Ending, not so much, but we'll get to that in a few minutes. Before I start diving into this, let me just say, been watching wrestling my entire life, of course. Love it. Love WWE. Recently, haven't been really enjoying it, as much as I have in the past. I'm not the only one. Many others feel the exact same way. The booking has been horrible in WWE. The PLEs have been lackluster. It's just been bubblegum, and it doesn't have that same vibe. And this retirement tour for John Cena has been nothing short of horrible. Nothing short of just bad booking after bad book. How can you fumble a retirement tour that was announced a year ago, and you still it just felt like everything was thrown together at the last minute, for every PLE, for every appearance of the man who truly was the face of this country for the better part of 20 years, to be exact, 26 years. But it's sad that John Cena kind of went out this way. Now, with that being said, there have been great moments throughout this retirement tour. The heel turn at Elimination Chamber was amazing. One of the greatest heel turns in the history of professional wrestling. Everything after that, a complete dumpster fire. Nothing worked in this heel run for John Cena. We get the babyface turn at SummerSlam. Great. He put on a banger with Cody Rhodes at Survivor Series. I like the pipe bomb that he dropped on CM Punk. The exact same pipe bomb that CM Punk dropped on him many years ago, but he reversed it. I loved that segment on SmackDown. I like the match with him and Logan Paul. The match with him and AJ Styles probably goes down as one of his best matches, greatest matches in his career. The match with Dominic Mysterio was awesome. And we get to this one. We get to the final match with Gunther. And, Gunther doesn't have bad matches. So I was confident that they would carry this match. And like I said, we'll get to it when we review the match. Didn't have a problem with the match. The match was fine. Borderline great. But the ending destroyed it all. And so this event, Saturday night main event to be exact, was John Cena's final match in his 26-year career. A match that his final opponent was determined in the last time is now tournament, where we saw Gunther earn the right to become John Cena's final opponent. Along with that match, we had 3 other matches on this card. We had Cody Rhodes, the undisputed WWE champion, going up against Oba Femi, the NXT champion. Also, Sol Ruka from NXT going up against Bayley, and the tag team match between the WWE tag team champions AJ Styles and Dragon Lee going up against Javon Evans and Leon Slater. Javon Evans of NXT, Leon Slater of TNA. But how this card was structured, and this is a John Cena idea. This was his plan to have the young guys go over, or not so much go over, but be showcased on the show. And that's why you saw a lot of NXT on this show. And these people were basically handpicked by John Cena for obvious reasons. They are the future. Oba Femi, Sol Ruka, Javon Evans, and Leon Slater. Ironically enough, even though he officially isn't a part of WWE, but you see a lot of him on NXT and whatnot. But due to the partnership with WWE and TNA. But yeah, man, and that is probably the best thing to come out of all of this tour or this run that John Cena was on this final year, that he really wanted to give back to the business, because he is truly a a lover of the business, man. And I can't take that away. And he wants to go out with the young guys on top and or putting them over. And I commend him for that. Let me start off by saying, before we get into the reaction and review of this card, up front and honest, I never was the biggest John Cena fan. Never was. When he started off with the thugonomics thing, and it just didn't work for me. I was like, oh, he's gonna be nothing but a jobber. You know what I'm saying? He only has about 5 moves in his arsenal. There's nothing really appealing about him. Yeah, he can cut a good promo and whatnot, but aside from that, I really wasn't a John Cena fan. Then when we switched to super babyface John Cena with the fruity pebble shirts and all this here, it was like, okay, he's entertaining. He was in some really good feuds with Randy Orton and CM Punk and The Miz, and then later on with The Rock. Really good, but I still wasn't a fan. He wasn't my favorite wrestler by no stretch of the imagination. But tonight, it really hit me. It really hit me tonight. I got emotional all over the place, because even though I'm not the biggest John Cena fan, I enjoy John Cena and for what he's done throughout his career. I respect what he's done throughout his career. The matches that he's put on, the fact that he truly was the face of this company, the man who put WWE on his back for 20 years. 20 years before he went off to Hollywood, week in and week out, Raw, SmackDown, PLEs. He was on every show. The hardest working man in WWE. And I can't take that away. I never took that away from him. I remember being at WrestleMania when he faced The Undertaker. Even though it was I don't know how to describe that that match. I forgot what WrestleMania it was, but it was in New Orleans. But it was just a thrown together match during the show. But it was fun to see him in the ring. It was fun to see him at Elimination Chamber, which was in New Orleans years ago. That was the Elimination Chamber when The Rock came back. He beat CM Punk for the WWE Championship. I remember seeing him at that show. It was just so much that I got to see in person with John Cena that I do remember, and I do remember all of the great matches that he did have in his arsenal. He was able to pull out some of the best matches in the last 20 years. And for somebody who only has literally 5 moves, he pulled out some of the best matches you would see in the last 20 years, whether it's AJ Styles or, Randy Orton and whatnot. He brought it. He brought it. And I would never take away that he left it all in the ring. You can never say that about John Cena. And so, yeah, man, I got emotional tonight. I really did. And then I got mad. It was a different type of emotion by the end. But let's start off with this card. The opening match of the night was the 2 champions, champion versus champion, with the undisputed WWE champion Cody Rhodes going up against the NXT champion Oba Femi. Obafemi was somebody I thought was going to be, pop up in the tournament and possibly be John Cena's last opponent. But he didn't appear in the tournament, and I was a little disappointed by that. But at least he was able to get showcased on at this event tonight. Obafemi is over. He is super, super over. I didn't realize he was that over. I watch NXT, and of course, he's over there. But I didn't think it would translate over to the main roster. Boy, was I wrong. Man, that crowd was hot for Obafemi. They didn't care about Cody Rhodes. Yeah, they cheered him. Everybody liked Cody. But man, they wanted Oba to win. Like me, this was a banger of a match. And once again, it was kind of a precursor to what we got later on in this Saturday night main event, but it ended bad. It was so good. Obafemi, he brutalized. I mean, I don't even know how to describe the beating he put on Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes got maybe 3 good moments in the match. The rest of it was all Obafemi. He destroyed Cody Rhodes. Now, with all that being said, I went into this knowing neither one of these two were going to win. I knew it was going to be a funky finish, which what we got, because you got to keep both of them strong. You can't have Obafemi defeat the undisputed WWE champion. No, that wouldn't translate well on television, and vice versa. You don't want Cody to beat Obafemi and kind of, demolish, not demolish, but take some of the steam out of the NXT championship. So I knew it was going to be funky, and I knew Drew McIntyre was going to come in. But unlike the final match, which we didn't have any influence or interference, not influence, but we didn't, this didn't bother me. It didn't bother me. The part that bothered me is I wanted this match to go on a little longer. It was only 9 minutes, but I wanted the match to go on maybe another 2-3 minutes, because I was enjoying it. This was a really, really good match. Obafemi, like I said, he is super over. Expect to see him on the main roster very, very soon. Drew McIntyre, we know that they have this ongoing beef, him and Cody Rhodes. He comes in and beats up on Cody Rhodes, gets the DQ. Cody wins by disqualification. But what was intriguing about all that, Obafemi mad because he lost, so he goes at or stares down Drew. And Drew is a big guy. Drew is a huge human being on the main roster. And then when Obafemi was standing in front of him, I was like, my God. He made Drew McIntyre look like Cody. That's how big he is. I mean, that is an unreal human being, Obafemi, to be that big and to move like he moves. He is a freak of nature, man. But he got in some good shots on Drew McIntyre. Cody Rhodes got some shots in on him. Ultimately, they were able to stand tall in the ring, both holding their championships as Cody puts over Obafemi. But the end result was Cody Rhodes defeating Obafemi by disqualification. This was a good match. I'm not going to grade these matches like I normally do. I'm just going to say if they were good or bad. And spoiler alert, they were all good. And so really nothing much to say about them other than the fact that I wish this would have went a little bit longer. That's my only critique about this match. But overall, it was really good. Our second match on the card was Sol Ruca taking on Bayley. Sol Ruca is another NXT superstar who is quickly on the rise. She's being featured on the main roster a lot lately for obvious reasons. She's a talented young lady. I think that she's going to make some noise on the main roster whenever they pull the trigger on that. Zarya, who came out with her, also another star who I would like to see possibly be on the rise on the main roster. But Sol Ruka, over, fans love her. She gives it in the ring. Today was no exception. Of course, she's in there with another general in her own right, Bailey, who, once again, I'm not going to say she doesn't have bad matches, because Bailey will botch a few. And I hate her finisher. I hate the Rose Plant. I really do. But, she's going to make her opponent look good, especially a young star. She is dedicated to putting over young talent. And I knew going into this one that Sol Ruka was going to win. Didn't shock me. Plus, Bailey is on a losing streak, man. They just, I don't know what happened, bro. I don't know what happened with Bailey and the booking with Bailey, that she's been booked as a loser for the past, I don't know, couple of years. But for some strange reason, it still works. It still works. But I would like to see Bailey turn that corner. They completely abandoned this storyline with her having to make, the multiple personality thing, even though she'll switch it every now and then. But it looked like that was heading to something bigger than what it is. But no. Ultimately, her and Laura Valkyria are besties. Who knew? But this match was fine. This was a fine match. It had some really good spots throughout it. Told a good story. A little botchy at times, because you're going up. When you have a high flyer like that, whenever you have high flyers in the match, which we're going to see in our next match, expect some botches. You're going to, especially when it's a high flyer in a ground and pound wrestler, two different styles clashing in the ring. And that's what you got on a couple of spots. But was it exciting and entertaining? Yes, it was, man. Sol Ruka is phenomenal in the ring. She showed a lot that I didn't even see coming from her. I wasn't expecting much from Sol Ruka in NXT when she first popped up. I just thought she was a little surfer chick, mid card, going to be buried in NXT forever. And she still could, but I seriously doubt it after tonight. But she has grown. She has grown on the mic. She got better on the mic. Can still get better. But she's gotten better in comparisons to where she first started. Yeah, this was a good match. So, Sol Ruka defeats Bailey by pinfall after giving her the Soul Snatcher, which is probably the best finisher in wrestling right now. That is a phenomenal finisher. The only problem with that finish, it is not. You can't do that all the time. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to help you in certain matches. Not every match you can win with the Soul Snatcher. And at times it's very, very choreographed and it looks kind of phony, but it's still beautiful to watch. Very, very cool to watch it. But yeah, it's not going to work all the time. So I would like to see more in her arsenal as opposed to just the Soul Snatcher. But as it stands right now, I'm going to rock with it. It's still exciting. It was landed beautifully in this match to defeat Bailey. And we move on to this tag team match, which had the promise of being a banger, which had the promise of being the show stealer. And I must say, it did for me. This was the best match on the card. AJ Styles, Dragon Lee versus Javon Evans and Leon Slater. I knew this was going to be a high-flying, high-paced, all over the place, bodies everywhere type of match, and that's what I got. Very energetic, never took their foot off the gas. It was balls to the wall for 6 minutes. Once again, another match that I wish would have went 4 to 5 more minutes. It was that good, but I know you couldn't sustain that at that gear that pace for that long, but they did for 6 minutes here. And Javon Evans and Leon Slater, they're 21 years old. They're still babies, you know. I can say that now. I'm an old man. I got children older than them, which is ah. But anyways, it's crazy that these young stars are. We say the future, but it's now. They are the present, man. These guys are here, and they're here to stay. Javon Evans, once again, another NXT star who you can see him getting more and more focus on the main roster. Just last night on SmackDown, he beat The Miz. Now, granted, that's not going to win you any trophies beating The Miz, but you you beat The Miz. Miz is a former two-time WWE champion, so that does hold a little weight. But yeah, he's been on the main roster a couple of times. He was in the tournament as well. Had a awesome match with Gunther. And so he is without a doubt going to be on the main roster very soon. I still would keep him in NXT because you don't want to rush it. You don't want to just throw him to the wolves just yet. And he, as exciting as he is, as entertaining as he is, and he's good on the mic as well. He has it. He has that element to be on the main roster. You still want him to work out some things, to be a little stronger. Plus, he's a little scrawny. Yeah, my boy is bouncy, but I need him to put on just a few more pounds of muscle. He looks like my pinky, but he is exciting in the ring. This wasn't good. This was great. This was great until the end. Until the end, and it's unfortunate because this was a 5-star match. AJ Styles, who's the veteran of everybody in this match, he's the one. You wouldn't have think he would have been the one to botch, and he did. And it wasn't his fault. I'm not blaming him. His foot slipped off the rope. He was about to deliver the phenomenal forearm, and he flipped. He misstepped. Yeah, I think he was amped up, and everybody was so amped up in that match. He was trying to match that energy of the youngsters there, and he kind of overshot his landing on that rope and botched that move and kind of kerfluffled the ending of that match. But ultimately, they recovered really quick, and AJ Styles pinned Leon Slater to win the match for him and his team. Look, it was a great match, and I know everybody would talk about that botch. I can live with that botch. It's not like it ruined the entire match. Obviously, that was going to be the end. That was setting up the end of the match that we ultimately got 10 seconds later anyway. So it wasn't the end of the world. But I enjoyed this, and it was a great showcase for the young talent, which it was intended to do. So before we got to the main event, we got a segment with The Miz. And The Miz, it kind of set it up in the pre-show when he was complaining that he isn't a part of the show. He has been a big part of John Cena's career with their rivalry, even having a WrestleMania main event between those two, with The Rock being the special referee or something. He was involved some type of way. But yeah, he is. You can't really get mad at what he said because it's the truth. He really was a big part of John Cena's career, and it fit. But he's out there, he's in the middle of the ring, and R-Truth comes out, who also is a big part of John Cena's career, and dressed up as John Cena. And they have a back and forth. R-Truth tells him that you swindled your way back into the tournament after you lost, and you took someone else's spot, and the man's spot you took is the name on his paper, and looks at the paper and he says his name, and wouldn't you know, he appeared. It was Joe Hendry. Joe Hendry appeared, and once again, another one thought he was going to be in the tournament. So why why? You know? But he was able to get on the show regardless and had a big pop for his appearance, showing that the WWE universe is hungry for Joe Hendry, and he got the best of the Miz in an unofficial match where he pinned the the Miz in a good little appetizer for the main event. You know, this was a how do I describe it? This was a good comedy act that set up the main event of the evening, where we saw Gunther, who recently retired Goldberg on a Saturday night main event a few months ago, and now got John Cena in his retirement match as well. Look, I know a lot of people online were upset that Gunther was the final opponent. I wasn't. I really wasn't. I didn't understand the tournament. It was good to see the tournament, but I already knew that it was going to be Gunther. Gunther is the choice of them all. You know, that is a no-brainer. Yeah, Gunther. He he's gonna bring the best out of John Cena. He's gonna make John Cena look good, and he did it for Goldberg. And we know Goldberg don't have any moves. We talk about John Cena and his 5 moves of doom, but Goldberg has what, 2, 3? Is a spear and a jackhammer. That's it. Occasionally he'll do a super kick. At least he used to. Now that he's old, he never did that. But he doesn't have any. And so he he brought some real energy to that point. And this is where I broke down, because it dawned on me that this was the last time I was going to hear your time's up, my time is now. And you know, when you really listen to that song, and it just didn't fit this show. Because John C, your time is up. Well, I guess it did fit. You know, he was talking to himself and handing it over to the youngsters. And yeah, man, this was the last time that he came out, ran down a ramp, jumped through the rope, slid in, and gave the 3 symbol. Man, it was super emotional. And then the match started, and the match was what I expected. It was nothing special. You know, it wasn't a WrestleMania level match, but it was a PLE level match. You know, I wouldn't say it was a Raw level. It's above that. I give it middle, middle of the pack PLEs level main event match. And it was good. Uh Gunther looked strong throughout. John Cena got his spots in. We were able to see all 5 of his moves of doom a couple of times. You know, we saw about 13 attitude adjustments in this match that Gunther kicked out of. One even went through a table. One was off the second rope, and it was all over the place. But Gunther kicked out of them all. I knew John Cena was going to lose the match. Okay, I knew he was going to lose because he's going out. Traditionally, that's how you go out in wrestling. You go out on your back. You put the guy over on your way out the door. That's what you do. So that didn't bother me. What bothered me, for 20 years, we've been hearing hustle, loyalty, respect. For 20 years, we've been hearing never give up. Only to get to this match, get put in a sleeper hole for about 16 minutes, because this match went about 24. And for John Cena to tap. And what made it so bad, not only did he tap, but he smiled while he tapped. It was like, what is this? What is it? Why? If Gunther would have hit his power bomb, which he hit several times in this match, covered John Cena 1, 2, 3. I would have been happy as a feline. This would have been the best Saturday night main event in a long time because we haven't had a good one. And so this is still the best Saturday night main event, even though they completely botched the ending. Not only of this card, of this event, but of John Cena's career. They botched it. And I'll go take it further. They didn't just botch John Cena's final match, they botched John Cena's final run. His entire run. And I'm sad. That's where I got emotional at that point. I got emotional at the end because I was sad that this is how he went out the door. His final year. He didn't really have a big moment to me. Yeah, it was cool when he turned heel. Yeah, it was cool at SummerSlam when he turned face. Yeah, it was cool in the AJ Styles match when he was paying homage to all of the wrestlers that influenced him in his career. AJ Styles as well. Awesome. But those were just moments. There was never any big, nothing about this year. Let's put it in perspective. Nothing about this retirement run will go down in the annals of history. Aside from that heel turn, I'm going to give credit where credit's due because it was unexpected. It was something people were waiting for 20-something years, or a little less than that. Because let's not get it mistaken, people. When John Cena was Thugonomics John Cena, he was a heel. He was a heel, and so I always laughed at folk when they talked about, "Oh man, John Cena has never been a heel. He never had a heel turn. All this other stuff. He started off as a heel. He was a heel." But he was so great as a babyface, and kept that going for so long, you forget that he was actually a heel for a short time. But aside from the heel turn at Elimination Chamber, nothing else about this run is memorable. Will go down in the Hall of Fame that you will go back and watch. It's nothing. And this final match is no exception. It could have been, but that last 3 seconds killed it. The fact that he tapped, it is just, I don't know, man. It just kind of poo-poos on his entire career. You've been saying, don't give up. Don't give up. And you gave up. You gave up. If he would have passed out like Goldberg did, like that, just passed out, didn't respond to the referee, fine. That would have been cool. That's cool. Still wouldn't have been 100% with it, but I would have felt better about that than him tapping out in the manner that he tapped out. So Gunther defeats John Cena in his final match in WWE in his career. He's on to bigger and better things. He's Peacemaker, for God's sake. Yeah, he can't do this forever. And like he said in an interview, he can't keep up with these young guys anymore. And he couldn't. I remember a match he had a couple of years ago with Solo Sikoa. I can't remember what PLE it was, but they had a match and it was horrible. Solo tried to carry it as much as he could, but he couldn't. I mean, John Cena was so slow. It's so bad. And that's why I was so impressed by a couple of matches he had this year, with Logan Paul and AJ Styles and Cody Rhodes. Those were some great matches. He dug into the chest for that. I was shocked. But yeah, he couldn't do it like he used to do it. So he's walking away and on his terms. So kudos to him. But this is it. This is it for John Cena. And man, I'm gonna miss him. I'm gonna miss him. Even though his appearances has been scarce over the last, what, 10 years, since he got into Hollywood. But he always had time to come back, make an appearance, give us a couple of matches, whether it's with Roman Reigns, he'll pop up on, or whoever. Uh, it was great, man. The block Brock Lesnar stuff and all these other things. It was great, and he will be missed. This was a decent card, decent night, decent event. Could have been great, but you, some of these booking decisions, I still scratch my head. I still scratch my head on with Triple H. I don't get him. I don't know why he's doing what he's doing, but they need to get better. Uh, the overall picture, not just John Cena, but the overall WWE. He needs to get better. But we'll leave off like this. Thank you, John Cena, for an amazing career, for all he's done in and out of the ring. It's been, if you watch the pre-shows and, interviews and all this other good stuff with John Cena and some of his co-workers there in WWE, all of the good works he's done. The Make-A-Wish Foundation, charities that he's done, being there to help young talent and stuff like that. This dude is truly, he's the GOAT, you know. Now, he isn't the greatest of all time, in my humble opinion, but if you call him the GOAT, I'm not going to argue with you. I'm not going to be mad, Uh, but, man, cheers to you. Never seen 17, the greatest of all time, the last real champion, John Cena. But I would like to know, what did you think of this, not only this match, but this entire card? Did you enjoy the show? Overall, I enjoyed the show. I'm not mad at the show, mad at a couple of outcomes. But overall, I was thoroughly entertained. I would like to know your thoughts on this show and your feelings about John Cena and what you're gonna miss, or are you like sayonara, but glad you're gone. I want to know your thoughts. Email the show, kbradiopodcast@gmail.com. You can also search for the show on all social media platforms. Just search for the KB Radio Network. Also, don't forget about YouTube. Subscribe to the KB Radio Network channel and like this video if you don't mind. Don't forget about the 5 stars, the reviews, and sharing. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you are currently listening to Faces and Heels here on the KB Radio Network. Everybody, thank you for joining me as I recapped and reviewed John Cena's final match, Saturday night's main event. Can't wait to catch you on the next go around. Everybody, I don't think we have one. I think this is it for the year. As far as PLEs and stuff. So with all that being said, have a Merry Christmas, have a Happy New Year, and I will see you in 2026.